This is my 2 cents on this. Dabo Swinney said last month in an interview with ESPN that whole system is going to have to get blown up. What will blow it up? NCAA going to blow it up? They're not blowing it up. They don't know what the hell they're doing. No. They were caught flat-footed by the Supreme Court ruling that basically said, hey, you better get on the stick here because the way you've been doing business is potentially illegal. So the next case that comes here, we might just have to blow up so-called amateurism for you. Name, image, and likeness is here. And it is leveling a playing field, is it not? And if Saban doesn't like that, maybe that's why he's saying what he said last night. It could be also a little bit of a message to those in the room. Hey, everybody, open up your checkbooks a little bit more for our collective. Because we're no longer number one. And again, the great equalizer might be Saban and his ability to coach as well. That he might, with the number 2 recruiting class, just beat you about the head, neck, face, and chest as well. As we keep eyes peeled on October 8th of 2022, that is when Texas A&M visits Tuscaloosa.
Wow.
But what will blow it up is Nick Saban saying this stuff out loud. Because now he's got everybody's attention. It's not sliced bread calling it out. It's Nick Saban calling it out. This is what will blow it up. And if the NCAA cannot come up with a way to make sure that Buddy Garrity and Buddy Garrity's money from Buddy Garrity Dodge doesn't wind up in the pocket of some 17-year-old, if that is a problem, how do you stop it? And part of the reason why it is a problem, as Saban pointed out, is that 17-year-old enticed to come for that amount of money, and then suddenly 17-year-old doesn't get the starting job, and then suddenly 17-year-old wants to go into transfer portal, and then suddenly 17-year-old says, you promised me this money, and now I've got to go transfer out. I still want my money as I'm leaving, and now there's lawsuits galore about what was promised and what might be legal and what isn't legal and what's a state law and what's not a state law, and all sorts of holy heck is breaking loose. And if you want to actually put some sort of level playing field out there, and you also don't want, as you know, coaches, they don't want this sort of stuff, or athletic departments, or presumably school presidents, they don't want the unionization that would have to come if you actually codify this stuff in a contract. If you turn these players into actual contracted, paid employees of a school, everybody says that the letter of intent is the contract. Yeah, that's for a scholarship. If you're talking dollars and cents, actual money, hard-earned cash. If you have contracts like that, you're going to have unions, and then it's just flat-out professional. If you want to have something that's not that, but also a level playing field, I said it when that Super League was formed over across the pond in the world of professional soccer, or football, as they would say, across the pond in Europe. When that Super League was formed and it lasted less than Belichick was the head coach of the Jets, I said, what is the sport? Where in America could that happen? And I said college football. And you already heard the Ohio State athletic director, Gene Smith, say just this past week something very similar to what I'm about to say. Get a group of teams and a group of schools and a group of programs that are kind of in the same area in terms of level of interest, in terms of money, in terms of conference, in terms of name brand. You put them together in your own collective called a Super League, and the top teams in the SEC and the top teams in the Big Ten and the top teams across the country all get together and tell everybody else, we're out.
Yeah, pound sand.
We are going to enforce our own rules. We're going to come up with our own ideas as to how these players can get paid. And everybody else, you could figure it out, because we're not waiting for the NCAA to do it. They could schedule us, but we're going to handle everything else in terms of where we play, when we play. And when I say scheduleless, I mean for like bowls. Everything else, regular season schedule, whether conference games get played, you're already hearing that the ideas of divisions are now gone. It's going to be top 2, just like the Big 12. Yeah. Top 2 in every conference. It's going to figure out how to, that's how you play for a conference championship, or if you even need that, if you expand to 8 teams or 12 teams or 16 teams for the right to play a playoff. This is the way it's heading. A bunch of schools are going to take their own footballs and go play in a league that they create with their own rules. And the first team that might lead the way is the SEC, because Greg Sankey is probably calling everybody up and saying, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What is happening? Why are we calling everybody out? Why is this now being aired? Why is this all there? What in the world is happening? And to remove yourself from this trough, create your own world. That's the way it's going to happen. It's coming. I don't know when. But the SEC is probably going to lead the way because they are always doing that. But when Dabo Swinney says this thing's got to get blown up, well, it sure sounds and feels like Nick Saban lit the match. Bruce Feldman of Fox Sports is about to join us.
Wow. And the thing is, they created a giant Super League, 40 teams. We're all going to watch.
Of course.
We're all going to follow, and we're going to get in, as much as passionate as we are now.
And then the question is who gets to join? Because I'm sure someone like Deion's going to raise his hand and say, hey, why not us? You have a tweet from him? I don't even make $1 million, says Coach Deion. Because responding to Travis Hunter, I got $1 million, but my mom's still staying in a 3-bedroom house with 5 kids, says Travis Hunter, the kid in question. That's Deion's response. And I'll tell you this. I have not spoken to Deion yet. I'm sure he's outraged and upset. But deep down, you know what else he's thinking? Jackpot. Jackpot. Let Alabama keep talking about Jackson State. We've got Nick Saban's attention, and not just because I'm doing an Aflac commercial with him. We have got Nick Saban's attention. We have Texas A&M's attention. And you best pay attention because I'm coming. I bet you deep down, Deion, as he's figuring out how to say it and what to go about it, part of him is like, you bet. When was the last time Alabama's coach talked about Jackson State? And it wasn't like, hey, that's the team that's coming to play us before we play Auburn because we paid them $3 million to get their asses handed to them. No, he's talking about them as a peer. And that's got to count for something, too. Yeah. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.